All right, everybody, welcome back. Hope you've been practicing. I'm going to show you how to storyboard action sequences. So, to save time, I basically did a little bit of a setup here. I've got my thirds to show the composition again, for reference to help you. And I've also built myself a little bridge. Okay, this is kind of like, I'm imagining the sequence in Cyber Fighter. There's a fighting sequence that takes place on a bridge. No spoilers, but at any rate. Okay, so I've got my set here, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm going to start just drawing my actors. All right, just for simplicity's sake, I'm going to make this a two-person fight. Now, when you're drawing action, the important thing isn't facial expressions. It isn't how the actor looks. It is the pose, the action. So therefore, the way I like this thumbnail sketch it out, and this is perfectly, feel free to do it this way as well, is I don't worry about drawing detail. I just basically do a lot of doodling, scribbling, right? So when I do my heads, they then become darker. In fact, I'm going to make my pen thicker so that way, yeah, there we go. So, and you know what? I need to bring this person's head up a little bit because they're, you know what? They're too close to the camera. All right, this is a wide shot. Remember how we went over shots, right? Wide shot. So, according to the rule of thirds and according to where the horizon would be in this shot, and I'm just going to give you a reference point as to where the horizon would be here. Because we're looking at a bridge and the camera is almost at the same level, the horizon would be basically about that where that bottom line, reference line is. That would be about where the horizon would be in real life. So I want to base where my characters are going to be on that. So that means the head's going to be up here. Now, do I want them to be along this axis line? Maybe. Let's see what looks better. My character is going to be throwing a karate sidekick. So the way you do that, you draw the head, then I draw the body, the upper torso, you know, above the waist, you know, and then when you're throwing a sidekick, one fist comes out to kind of like guard you, and then the other one is kind of like sometimes it counterbalances this way, right? Boom. And then you're supporting like so. Then you have your pelvis right here. This will help lock the legs in, and then you got your thigh and then your calf muscle, and then proper sidekick, the toes point away from the target, and then since this is a movie, you're going to be kicking head level, so they're throwing a kick like that, and then there's their other foot and there's their leg. So people can say, oh, they're throwing a karate kick. Okay, cool. So he's throwing a karate kick and he's hitting a guy. So he basically landed this kick. So the other guy, the bad guy, he's getting hit. So when you get hit, there's an exaggerated, this is like how, kind of like how comic book people will draw. Of course, the comic book, difference between comic book and what we're doing here is comic book is definitely interested in detail. You do not draw comic books like this. You do not want to draw comic books like that at all because there's no detail here. But you're making a movie. So this person, there's their legs, and their arms are kind of like flail. You know, the force is sending them backwards, so their arms are kind of like, you know, like Newton says, with every action's an equal and opposite reaction. Well, their body's going that way, so their arms and legs are going this way. So that's how you indicate that. So this clearly is a hit. Bam! You don't even need to put like a little kapow in there. It's obvious. You can tell by that, right? And if you really, really want to add a little bit of detail, you can put some motion lines. So let's like, boom, there goes the kick. And you can have this guy going whoosh, like that, to show that they're flying back. So now that we've got this little action, where does it look best? This is almost center framed, right? This is, you know, your main actor, your hero throwing the kick is here along this line. And then this guy's not quite along this line because, you know, it's composed there. But if you center it more, there's a lot of empty space here and empty space there, right? Sometimes that looks good, but look at the actual weight of the frame. To me, when you center everything, when you center all your shots, it just looks a little bit too neat. The thing about life and art, to me, asymmetry is more important than symmetry. And the Japanese are really good on this. If you look at a lot of Japanese art and a lot of Japanese architecture, it embraces asymmetry instead of symmetry, because nature is asymmetrical in many ways. And so that's why I prefer to put them there and not here. Definitely not there. The only reason why you would put them there is if you've got some major action going on in here. So if they're, for example, you're doing a Marvel movie now you've got, you've got Spider-Man's throwing a kick there, and let's say the Hulk is, he's going to be bigger, is got a guy by the neck, and he's got a guy up here like this, and he's getting ready to Hulk smash. So you can see there's their fist, and he's going to pound this guy into the ground. There's Hulk. So now you got multiple characters doing an action scene. Yeah, then you balance it out, right? But if it's just these two characters, this framing just puts too much negative space there unless there's a specific reason why you're doing that. Otherwise, you're going to want to make it more, to me, aesthetically, that's where you want to frame it. That's where you're going to want to frame it. Okay, so that's, basic martial arts action. If you're doing a dogfight, say you're doing like a Top Gun type of thing, and you got, when I was a little kid and I grew up with Star Wars, it was easy. I used to doodle around instead of like paying attention in school. I used to doodle around drawing a lot of little X-Wings and TIE fighters. So let's do the Death Star, okay? Let's just do a little bit of the Death Star run so I can talk about this. So using this layout again, we're going to have the Death Star in the foreground. Whoops. Let me bring that onto the correct layer. There we go. That way there's the Death Star. And you're really close to the Death Star, so it's almost like the curvature of the Earth. It's a curvature of the small moon, the space station, right? And then, of course, how do we know it's a Death Star? Because we've got the super laser cannon right there. And then there's the little equator, which I used to think was the trench, but it's not. Any of you Star Wars experts out there know what I'm talking about. But, when I was a kid, I didn't know any better. And so now you're going to want to compose this basic shot of, let's just say, Luke Skywalker is being chased by a TIE fighter. This is before Darth Vader comes out. So I'm going to put my X-Wing here. Now you want to do a rough instead of a detailed of the X-Wing. The X-Wing basically, if you're rough, is a triangle. A rough triangle like that. And then there's 4 engines like that, like 4 circles, and along each of them is the X-Wing. So one wing's up like that, one wing's there like that, one wing's like that, one wing's like that, and then on the tips of the wings are the lasers. And this guy's Luke's going that way, but he's being chased by a TIE fighter, and the TIE fighter is basically an H with a ball in the middle, right? H, 2 sticks. There's their solar panels. I mean, that's about as rough as you can get. And then, of course, let's grab the green, because the Empire's lasers were, let me make it straight lines, right? He's missed, because, spoiler alert, Luke actually destroys the Death Star. He doesn't get shot down. So that's another way to compose your shots if you're doing a dogfight type of thing, right? So the important thing to remember whenever you're doing any kind of storyboards is, and sometimes, like I said, when you're learning, make a grid. Make a grid in your frame. Break it up into 9 equal points. And then as you compose your shots, as you can see, it looks really, really cool. So that's basically how you do storyboards on paper. You notice the artwork isn't like the greatest artwork because this is really, really quick. If you want to put more time and detail into the art, by all means do so, especially if you're a really good artist. Show off your skills, but know that that's going to take a little bit longer. When you really, really want to crank something out just to show it and showcase it. And another thing too that I forgot, and I'm going to remind myself, is it almost looks like these people are floating in space. So how do you get rid of that? How do you make them on the bridge where this is the edge of the bridge? You just got to use your eraser and kind of like, not erase the bridge, erase the character. There we go. I mean, that's too big. But you catch the drift. To catch the drift is you there. Now they're being obscured. See, now you got 3 dimensions. Now he's on top of the bridge. There we go. There was something wrong about that shot. Now I fixed it. So at any rate, if you want to put more detail on it, by all means do. But anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Stay tuned and keep practicing.